Cardiff Vale is unique. It's unique in the way that there's only one way in, and the way in is also the way out. So you get a community there, and they're all together. It's one massive family. Everybody knows everybody. And of course then when the pits are going, you'd have someone who would start on the ground and he'd be working with a man. Oh, I know your mother and father, you know, and that was the closeness of the community. That's what it is all about. You would never believe how vibrant this community used to be. There was so much going on, and the throb, the buzz of the colliery was everywhere. You know, wherever you went, you could hear that background noise, the hum of the colliery. I was the sixth and last Richards to work underground. And I can trace my association with underground back to just after 1800. And my grandfather was killed in number 1 pit in Cambrian, where that was in 1915, and it was 50 years later that another 31 of our boys were killed in the same pit. Of course, when they closed the colliery in 1966, it was the beginning of the end of so many aspects of life in Cardiff Vale, and similarly in many pit villages throughout Wales and in England as well. It's a slow stifling of the community. But you've got to remember this. These people, these are valley people, and they are used to adversity. We were brought up that way. We knew adversity, and we just got on with life.
Cambrian United is it's a football club by definition, but actually it's more than that. What we're trying to achieve here at Cambrian is an anchor organisation for the communities of Rhondda and Taff. We have a vision that football is for everyone, and I think when one looks at our provision now, which is kind of growing, there's a place for everyone within our football club. I'd like to think actually there's great resonance with what the football club now represents, with, you know, this area where we sit here in Thames, which is a tribute, you know, to the old colliery site here in Cambrian. And if one looks back at the history of the colliery within the communities, not just here in Cardiff, but also across, you know, South Wales and in the Rhondda Valley in particular, I think it's probably true that almost everybody had a connection to a colliery, whether working in the colliery or family members working in the colliery. And I think that's going to be true for the football club. You know, we want everybody to have a connection with what we do, whether that's direct or indirect. We want the football club to touch the lives of as many people as we possibly can.
I was, in my early working days, probably I was about 25, I'd been playing for the club, as you know, within the local leagues, and we were in the local working men's club that back in them days is where we used to go after matches. You know, they were talking about how the club was struggling and where it was at and the numbers, you know, it was difficult to keep the teams running. And so why don't you come on the committee? And I was only 25 at the time, and I said, okay, no, that's, you know, I'm interested in that. Let's have a little look.
Oh, you like John, mate?
No, we dictated our route in terms of where we want to go as a football club many years ago, and I was through the community route. For football clubs within the Rhondda, it doesn't have a lot of big industry around it to support it, so we've chosen the route of, you know, how we can develop our football club. is very much with the community ethos attached to it, and engaging with that community, wrapping the community around it, and then growing something special that the community can be a part of, and that you can be a part of that community as well. The support team, the cafe facility where we're based now, this is a hub, for local people, young people, elderly people, a lot of people with disabilities come here. Groups of men that are retired come here. They have their little walks around the lake, their little cups of coffee, have a chat about the football. I get dragged into many conversations here, football conversations that go back 40, 50 years, and that's what I absolutely love about it, because it's not a normal type facility here as a cafe. Its main target is how we can serve our community. The site here is quite unique to the Rhondda. You'd go a long way to find another location like this. It is special. And then the projects and programs that we're able to support the community with, like we've got a little gift shop, a zero waste shop, plastic free. The environment fits into that again, in terms of having our hydro plant and trying to think of the environmental impact in everything that we provide here. So it's all of those things that bring the community together, and they feel a part of it as well.
My name's Gareth Thomas. I've been a volunteer at Cambrian for just over 2 years. Just on this hydro, I had redundancy at the start of furlough. This came up here and I thought, this is just up my street. The hydro, there's the part of water goes in and spins the turbine. And the blue part is the generator, which generates the electricity. As it is now, it's been converted now that it supplies the cafe. So all the cafe over there is run from this. Where we are here, this obviously on the bottom lake. At the top lake we have a sieve, which is basically a filter that stops anything getting into the system. So the water then goes over a built-up dam at the top, like a weir, goes into a little pipe, and we've got a tank at the side of the top lake, which this water goes into the tank first and then comes down. So basically it takes a shortcut through a pipe. So the pipe is 1,600 metres long. So that comes straight down to us, straight down to this, spins this and does the business. When I left school in 1975, I went straight underground to work because I lived in Mardy, so I worked underground in Mardy. Done an apprenticeship, and I worked there until it closed, so I was there for 16 years. From there I went to the air industry, which was servicing aircraft engines. So, engineering is my background, but I've also loved the mining side of things and the valley itself, and what we can produce in the valleys of South Wales if we put a lot of thought into it. If we put a bit more thought, and because we're wasting all this water, and we do have a lot of water. We do have a lot of water in Wales. It's a mental health saver as well, to be honest with you, because I can come in here, I can pick a coffee up from a shop, from a cafe, I can walk over here, and I can do what I want to do in here. I can sit here, I can get, clean it up a little bit, and it does give you that sense of pride. When you press the button, there's one button over there which shows the demand of the cafe at that moment. You press it and it's showing 0, and you think, I'm supplying that. It's me. They're all eating food what I've made. That's how I feel about it. And I go home smiling, and because it's and tell my wife all about it, and she gets a bit fed up. Like, oh, here he goes.
this particular area was, and is as a community, still a deprived community, as is the whole of the Rhondda. But I think what we've created here is quite a little special haven for people, a little escape. Because when you're here, you could be anywhere in the world really. The mountains and the environment and lakes are absolutely fabulous. It is special. We don't have a lot within the Rhondda, but to be able to create spaces like this that people can come and enjoy, come and forget about various things and issues that they have, and it can be supportive around mental health, for disabilities, all of those things, and your general issues that people have to face on a day-to-day basis.
My first experience goes back quite a few years ago actually. I came with my grandfather to watch the team. I've always been a Cardiff boy. I went to school here and I'm still living here now and I'm nearly 30. I was a professional sprinter for 13 years. I represented my country at 2 Paralympic Games and I also represented Wales at 3 Commonwealth Games. I have a hemiplegia, which is a paralysis down the one side of the body. I contracted viral encephalitis when I was 2. It damaged 3/4 of the right side of my brain, leaving it dead. The doctors told my parents that I was a hopeless case. The jury is still out with that for everybody that knows me. But I was in a coma for 10 days. I was on life support for 3 days and I had to be brought back to life 3 times. And when I'd come out of the coma, I developed this paralysis down the left side of my body. Came to the football club when I was younger, and because of the ties with my grandfather, who was a committee member, everybody was so friendly, the players. You'd go in half-time, full-time to see all the guys and they're like, "Oh, Reece, how's it going?" Said, yeah, it's just a great support network. I was part of a disability football club. They recommended me to Disability Sport Wales, told them that I was fast, and it just went from there how I became a sprinter then. Everything is a happy accident when it comes to me. Yeah. I knew my time was done. I'd done everything that I could do. I'd won Commonwealth medals, I'd been in Paralympic finals, World Championship finals, and I just felt that I needed a new direction in life. I came down to volunteer with the Cambrian Village Trust. It was a community boxing session. I went, I loved it. I was able to help people. Anything that I can lend my hand to, I would give it a go. And for 9 months, I volunteered doing after-school clubs, community boxing. We were working with a mental health charity as well. And I was going along providing sport opportunities for anybody that wanted to be part of it. My aim is just to help people and give them the realization that they can be the best that they can be. And that was so rewarding, helping people that didn't think that they wanted to do sport or didn't think that they could get out of the house or anything really. And then you go to sessions and you see a kid or an adult smiling constantly, not just once or twice, constantly throughout your session. And you think to yourself, this is what it's all about. This is what makes it so rewarding. And I absolutely love it. I love helping people.
The journey that we've been on is providing employment opportunities for local people. We employ about 25 members of staff here now. There's not many football clubs and structures that will be employing local people and giving job opportunities to local people. The facilities that we've managed to provide here, such as the new 3G going down, a community gym being opened. So now this isn't just about the football club, whereas the local rugby club has been able to access these facilities. The local community can access these facilities. It's never been known before within Clitterfield, and Cambrian has been able to deliver that for the benefit of all the community.
"17 years ago, I think it was, I started here as a football development officer for the Cambrian Village Trust. I just left school, wasn't sure what I wanted to do. Phil asked me if I'd be willing to maybe start doing some coaching in the local schools. I gladly said yes. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. We started in maybe 12 local schools, and by the end we were probably close to 30, 40 schools with 6 or 7 full-time members of staff. During that time, we actually acquired the UEFA Licensed Academy from the local authority as well. So one of my roles was to kickstart the academy programme and direct the programme. I'm proud to say I know it's probably one of the most successful in Wales now. Probably wasn't at the time that I was doing it, and there's a lot of great work that's gone on since then, but really proud with how it's grown. I think the inheritance of the UEFA Academy really helped me. It got me working with a really good standard of player in this area, and it allowed me to connect with a lot of good people as well as part of that. And then I think also the sort of constant support I got from the trust. They supported me to do my UEFA qualifications, to get me to a level where I was able to go and coach at, I guess, a more elite level. I actually initially took a job at Swansea. My first professional club was Swansea. I had a great sort of 12 months there, and then being a local boy, I guess Cardiff's more a local club to me, and when I got the opportunity to come and work at Cardiff, I sort of was really excited by that. I think it's really great when we can reward local coaches with the opportunity to work at a sort of professional level and with some really great players, and we're lucky we've got some really great players in South Wales, and a lot of them in this FAW Academy programme that we're able to work with and share ideas with clubs like Cambrian is always a real positive for us.
My name is Cian Ashford and I play for Cardiff City and Wales. I grew up in the Rhondda, Clydach. Me, my family, my siblings, we're all from there. Really like the community. You just know everyone, to be honest. Everyone's really friendly, everyone's really, cheerful. So like whenever anybody's playing sports, anything, the whole community, families, they all support you and make you feel like you can do anything. My father took me to watch my cousin, and my cousin's about 2 years older, I think, so that was a real moment where I watched him play and thought, yeah, I really want to get into this, and that's when I kind of started playing. I used to just go and play all the local teams around like every weekend, and my sisters would be coming to watch, and standing on the side nice and cold. The weather's not great, but yeah, they all pretty much come and watch me play, and I used to just go around the Rhondda home and away playing football. That was really where it all started for me, playing at Cambrian. I made a lot of friends playing for Cambrian, so I just played there from when I was little, and that was the only ever club that I really played for, in the Rhondda. So for me, that was a really big part of my football career. Dane would have been, when I'd first started for the first couple of years, he would have trained me and coached me a bit and done all the fun little games, and that's our relationship, and that was a big part of me really enjoying football and wanting to take it serious. And then I was through the 7s and 8s and 9s, and then that's when I actually seen Dane in Cardiff then, when I got to the nines and that, then that's more, Dane was more involved in me throughout there, and then pretty much up until under 16s, I think he's pretty much always been there or thereabout, either coaching me or close on the sideline. So I've got a really good relationship with Dane, and he's helped me a lot through my career. The biggest thing for me when I was playing local is it's kind of just how I played. Like, because it was like Sunday league, you know, you could get a bit like, the game could get a bit intense even at that young age. You know, you'd have little kids flying about the place. So, so I think for me that was big. That was a big part of me when I played throughout the thing. I've always had that a bit of bite, and especially growing up, I was a bit feisty kid, like so.
Our aspirations are still huge, you know, for the club. We've come a long way, but there's still a long, long journey to go on. We're going down the road in terms of obviously the development of the ladies' game. That's a big vision for us now. And you know, the vision is for ladies football and men's football to be competing at the very highest opportunities that they have in Wales.
I'm from Penregraig, which is literally just down the road. Walk there in 15 minutes. Growing up, I was very much a tomboy. My friends were boys. They all played rugby, and I played local rugby with them in a boys' team. Got to, I think, 11, and you couldn't play rugby with the boys anymore as a girl. And the only sports team about was a girls' team that was at the top of the valley, and that's how I got into football. It was the only girls' team in Rhondda. But they have done very well for players. When you look at girls that I played with back then, a lot of them have gone on to do very well. But it was that if you wanted to play a higher standard, you had to leave Rhondda, and that's part of the reason why we started here, is to get a higher standard of Ewa. Came to Cambrian because I thought we could go a step further. There was a couple of other local teams, and it was very much the same as what's always been on offer since I was 11, 12. It's the same kind of setups. The growth in terms of teams available hadn't really grown with the demand and players wanted to play. And alongside that, there wasn't a setup in Rhondda that matches some of the setups I've been fortunate to play at for girls here to aspire to on their doorstep. So Cambrian was a very obvious choice for me. It's right in the centre of Rhondda. So it's a very, very obvious choice, and as soon as I emailed them, I had a response probably within the hour, meeting within the week, and it was all guns blazing then. My first aim has always been to make football affordable and accessible for girls. The second aim is a full pathway for girls 2-3 years old all the way through to a women's team that they can aspire to, and then a women's team that's performing well and girls want to stay in Rhondda to play for and not have to travel elsewhere for. Not only do we live in an area where we typically have a lower income than the national average, we also have the gender pay gap to contend with. And we take those into account. Football isn't a cheap sport. We have to pay for facilities, we have to pay for kits, we have to pay for the referee. If we take money to the side then and look at the very female-specific barriers, you've got self-esteem and confidence issues, typically more prevalent in girls and women. We've been very fortunate that we've just secured some funding for some female-friendly signage. When I first heard that, I was like, well, what does female-friendly mean? But the more you think about it, there's signage all around the pitch. But how often do you see girls and women in those pictures? And if a young girl, 8, 9 years old, comes in and seeing boys and men using the pitch and boys and men photographed all around the pitch, what is she aspiring to? Is hopefully in a couple of months' time, that same girl will walk onto our pitch, she'll see some of our senior players photographed up you know, in prominent display around the pitch, and she knows what she's aspiring to, and she sees a friendly face, and she might recognise that player the next time she comes training, and she knows exactly what she wants to aim for then. Giving something back to the community and getting to know the people here, not just that I play with, but here in the lakeside, seeing them about, or if I'm going for a walk/run up the lakeside, seeing them every day. It brings you back into that community vibe. We often talk about loneliness with older people. And not just older people, it can be at any age, but a lot of that isolation comes from not engaging with your community, and it doesn't have to be a conscious effort. It's quite easy to isolate, as we saw in COVID, but getting back into football has got me back into the community, but it's also giving back to people. I've got people coming back into football having not played for 14, 50 years. It's got them back engaged with their community. I've seen people form relationships and new friendships, and you know, they get in childcare, bringing their children along to the football. The benefits for me and the players far exceeds football. There's friendships built, there's career and key skills gained, there's childcare possibly. Yeah, it's difficult to articulate that one.
See you next time. Yeah, ta-ra. It's been a love, you know, it's been a love of my life. I love coming to work every day. Somewhere that, the people that have come in here and say, look, come on to me, this place has been a lifesaver for me. I've gone through very difficult times myself. I came here, I still come here, and you don't know, and I can never ever tell you how much this place has meant to me and how it's helped my life. And if we can continue to do that while building and growing our football club, then obviously that is a perfect match really for me, because it's important that you find ways to support your community. Yeah. Right.